That's not great. I just
All
realized that.
right.
I'm low on willpower.
Well, these things happen. You'll be fine. We are off to the races. Let's see, what does fate decide for the outcome of last we met these characters along the way. The average DC is 4. And what doth fate say? Alright, so with a little bit of upkeep, a little bit of handling brass tacks, we will begin. So, would you both be so kind as to go ahead and roll your awaken? And for those in the back who didn't hear us the first time, this is officially, without a shadow of a doubt, Lost Wages and Second Chances. Tonight's episode entitled Only Light. Dark cannot. Opens weeks later. The Garuja is in the near immediate future. Time, as always, is the thief of happiness, sadness, and everything that we know of as now. Tomorrow is always coming and yet to arrive. When we last left the coterie, they were in a tense moment. They were beset. They were cut adrift from reason and swallowed in chaotic actions of those around them. There were power plays, successful and not, in the offing. Martha, nearly deceased, captured. Fancy, Brian, and Eugene, rushing to her aid. The resulting crash and tumult, leaving Martha less than whole, leaving Eugene battered and bruised. Again, less than whole. Fancy and Ryan escaping relatively unscathed. And the lot of them, managing to safely, of course, only relatively, situation in which Martha and the world found themselves. So we begin tonight, again, weeks later. Party mostly healed, distracted though they were with the various matters before them. We pick up weeks later with Las Vegas, that hungry maw of hope and fantasy combined into one solid hold set against every person who sets foot across its border. It is night, the city twinkling like a star, an earthbound star in the desert. Fancy and Martha, having reconvened at the hotel, the off-book medical facet still in operation. Martha, of course, speaking for her employer, and while they may not be able to support themselves, they are relatively useful. Their eyes and ears, and, well, there's a service being offered. Fancy, having several assignations with her lover, husband, partner in crime. Several favors extended and taken. It is petty, to say the least. So, as we turn our eyes towards the back room that serves as the office for the coterie, Fancy and Martha once again gathered. Is there anything that you all would like to discuss in this moment, in this back room with the city outside teeming and bustling, people moving to and fro, the debt that you all owe still hanging over your head, and the Garuja haunting your steps like an angry pack of wolves?
was trying to fix my willpower because if it's been a couple of weeks, then that means I would have had a chance to uh, redo all that and be back at normal. But I don't know how to do that, so let's fix it. Um, uh, and we're in the office, and like we were just getting close. I don't know what Eugene managed to pull off, but we haven't had too much problem with the cops lately. He's also been missing in action. I don't know where the fuck he is, but he understands that he needs to be back for the Garuja. Is there anything that you need to go over, you need help with, that I can manage in these short hours that we seem to have?
Uh, I think I'm mostly alright. I mean, I need to take some personal time at some point to go get some food, but other than that, I'm alright.
Are you really?
What?
Are you really? There are several things that you still have not quite rectified, namely Anastasia's body.
That's true.
Namely, the fact that in some Las Vegas morgue right now is the moldering remains of Anastasia. Eventually, someone or someones will definitively be able to track them back. Only a matter of time. And as time has progressed and each night has added to the one before it, the distance between you being able to share freely without penalty and it becoming a matter of you having kept the issue grows. There's no way anyone would believe that you did not do it on purpose and in complete violation of the traditions. There's no way with the time that has settled and the police investigations that have caused so much harm to others, let alone yourselves, that anyone would believe you had any intentions of being forthright and presenting that information and getting the help that you need to rectify it. There's just no way. It becomes with the wounded and otherwise damaged and battered fall police officers while hiding you. All of the hoopla and uproar that nearly threatened to upturn the apple cart of the money, the life's blood of Las Vegas coming in, the tourist trade. Why happened to you? And as much as it is solely Martha's responsibility as far as provable connections rely, it is not just Martha's responsibility. You all are on the hook for that.
Well, when you put it like that, I guess I really do need to make that my priority, but right now Martha is at under 5, so she's pretty distracted.
So basically, if you can't think of anything that you need to particularly do, we also need to check on the financials currently because we need to start paying back the loan sharks that were attempting to kill the other guy that worked here that night, now that we are responsible for the financials,
Well,
money is going out mostly, but we can manage a payment if it's necessary.
that's true. And it's not that I can't think of anything that needs to be done. I mean, just to name one thing, we haven't cleaned up after Anastasia, which I would consider a personal favor. I mean, we could, in theory, let, the prince's people handle it, but there's a risk of that getting traced back to us in more of a concrete way than it has been.
I understand what you're saying about needing to get Anastasia and all that other things, but you know how hard that's going to be for me seeing her again, even though I know she's dead, knowing what she did.
Well, I'm not asking you to handle the body or anything. I need somebody to make a distraction while we, get rid of evidence.
So basically, you want us to break into the morgue while we're
Well,
being looked for, less actively, but actively.
well, it's not ideal, but like I said, there's a risk to letting them examine her.
Fine. Okay. Yep, you have a point. Let me see what I can do. How are things with Luca laying low? Is he still actively having to lay low, or is that a little bit more relaxed?
He is very actively having had to lay low because of the scene that developed immediately after the death of the Seneschal and the uproar that happened at the Black Dog and the two nearly killed police officers on the side of a road one evening at a car crash, and the tensions growing in the city council because of all of the violence that threatens the tourist trade. Each time that you've met him over the last few weeks has been him literally putting his life in your hands. Unfortunately, it is a risk and a trust that he would be willing to extend yet again. Even with Eugene's efforts to utilize his network of cronies, his network of associates, his upcoming politicians that are in his pocket or otherwise he's worked for, even with Eugene out there in the night doing God knows what to God knows whom, for God knows whomever, the deck is stacked. The odds are extraordinarily high. So much so that while you all are there in the back room making your plans and considering who to reach out to, how to utilize, and what steps to take, he comes barreling through the door. And not barreling through the doors and he comes barreling through the door like the devil himself is in his shadow. You all have seen Eugene in all manner of states, and very rarely mostly as a sign of his intelligence, have you ever seen him afraid, actively fearful? But there is something that has scarred him to the core and quick of his bravery and intelligence. There is the very spirit of the yellow fear of Rostrek about him. He, unlike every other kindred you all have had the opportunity of associating with, is sweating buckets. He, unlike most ambulatory corpses that are the kindred, is bleeding profusely. He, unlike nearly every other instance of you all knowing him, nakedly bears his firearms. And he glances towards the shadows in the room, and he double checks the door to make sure that it is in fact closed, and crashes into the seat on the opposite side of the room with his back against the wall, and finally removes his sunglasses and leans his head against the wall, breathing unneededly, extraordinarily heavy, each breath feeling as if it's moving a metric ton of air as he tries to gather himself. So, how's everybody else doing today?
What is
Fine. Everything's fine. Everything's cool. Everything's, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Perfectly fine.
it don't look fine? You bleeding and you have your gun out. What? How was that fine?
Yeah, no, not breathing. I'm panting, panting heavily, and my gun. Well, this is my This is my sidearm. My gun, and I don't have that out.
Okay, start from the beginning. Why don't you tell us what happened?
Oh, nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. Everything's perfect.
Oh,
And
now
then he
rude.
And then he goes perfectly still. It's still a little early, but the little ones are coming home, so let's take a quick 4.5 minute so I can get them settled. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. But the littlest one was coming back from a trunk or treat party at school, and I didn't want the background noise to affect anyone. Is everyone back?
Nah, more or less.
Okay. Less is more is less. We're good with that. We're off to a good start in regards to where the coterie is. Where they are is on their home territory. It's in their home base. It is their center of their individual world, and the base for which they are going to hopefully successfully host the Garusha. Into this maelstrom of now, Eugene is entered, soaking in sweat, covered in blood, brandishing his firearm nakedly.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one more time. I know you don't want to talk about it, and I know you're saying everything's fine, but the problem with this whole situation is we can't have anything else biting us in the ass. So please, give me absolute honesty as to what the actual fuck is going on. What are you running from? Because I've never seen you like this. Something must be going on for you to be coming in here like this.
Nothing is presently going on. It's all fine. You can't lie about what you don't know. And right now, it's probably better that only I am aware of what Aldo Vladatel has been up to. It's probably better that I'm the only one that knows that the mad Russian is still out there pulling the strings of the circulatory system. It's probably better that I am the only one to know just how connected to the circulatory system, the chantry of Las Vegas actually is.
You say that, but there's a chantry member right there. So what sense?
Where?
does
Who?
that make?
Didn't we get rid of the Bruja? The model, the princess? You know, the girl that didn't do anything.
You just said
Oh.
chantry. Chantry is Tremere, stupid.
Who need to call anybody names? And I didn't say anything about anything.
Since he's just like rubbing her temple.
You want to twist my
walking
arm?
away.
Fine. Because you want to twist my arm. Okay, so everyone knows that the mad Russian adult is responsible for the local circulatory system. He is a major mover and a shaker. The only reason why I was still here to help you all out of the trouble when we had to all but kill those cops was because of him. And I thought that I was free of the debt that I had to pay him because he was there at the Black Dog. And I hoped that he was down for the count. But he wasn't. And a couple of days ago, to keep a friend out of trouble, I snooped into some of the dealings that have been happening, and the dude was there. And to honor my debt that I owe him, he had me go with him to a meeting of the other supplier for the circulatory system, Mosley. Yeah, the big boss himself of all the Tremere in Las Vegas. Mosley is running a body farm up in Centennial, just south of Kyle Canyon. And it is big. He has 4 actual cul-de-sacs worth of people under his control that he can make disappear or reappear whenever he wants.
I'm shocked and appalled.
Like, no one's got time for you.
Really? Are you though?
I mean,
His problem. The only problem, there's only one person that knows about it. Well, knew about it now. Adam, the Malkavian Primogen. He doesn't exist anymore. So nobody knows about Mosley's people farm except for me and a dude who is going to become the next Malkavian Primogen because of what we did tonight.
not to get all pyramid on you, then I'd keep your fucking mouth shut.
Quiet in the room. ratchets up about several hundred degrees. His naked sidearm, no longer lightly rocking in his hand, rests on it. Instead of looking at the ceiling, he lowers his chin and meets your gaze, Martha.
Is this going to be a problem? I mean, are you going to try to leverage this?
Who am I going to leverage it to?
That's what I'm.
It was working to get out of trouble, to get us help and help a friend. And the only thing that's come of it is more chaos. The only thing that's come of it is more problems. Because guess who wants to help cater the Garuja to solidify his position as Primogen in Benedict's court?
Well, I mean, not to be, exceptionally kindred, but that kind of solves problems for us because we needed to do that.
So they want to run things, or do they want to be seen helping so that it gives them a good position, but we're still running things? Because the definition between those two is very, very different. I don't give my power up to anybody.
It's a Ventrue event. I mean, he's gonna defer to the Ventrue, probably. He just wants to solidify his power base, probably. I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked to the man in a good while.
You know how crazy that sounds? A Tremere and a Malkavian catering the center of power for Las Vegas and its outlying areas. We already know what you and Ryan did to Reese Logan, one of the Tremere. We already know that
he was a Tremere in bad standing.
You say that, but we killed Jen Harris's relations. Or did you forget about what happened with the Immortal's friend, who was friends with Jen Harris, also one of the frickin' Tremere?
You keep saying we a lot. You're saying we a lot, and I don't like we right now.
Okay, fine. You and Ryan. You.
Yeah, but
and Ryan.
You need to hush about what things happen, because only the people that were there that night know what happened, and nobody else needs to know what happened that night. So we gonna forget all about what me and Ryan may or may not have done, because that bitch had it coming. But besides that fact,
he
the
holsters
past
his
is the
firearm.
past.
He holsters his firearm and still moving his finger to his mouth and he stands, taking another unneeded breath, and reaches into his left pants pocket, and he walks forward to the table that's sitting between you and Martha. And when he gets right over the table, he reaches into his pants pocket and pulls out a palm-sized flat stone. It's reddish in color, striated with several different layers. It looks like the base for a necklace, all one singular stone, and he sits it on the table.
Oh, shit.
Picks it up and puts it back in the pocket. Now, I'm just blaming you because we are all responsible, Fancy. Oh, you never know who's actually listening in.
I think I was busy doing other stuff when that went down, but okay.
I look at Martha and their response to that, and then it's like, I've never seen one of them before, so I don't know. But then at the same time, their reaction to it, and the fact that he's calling attention to it, and keeps repeating the same phrasing. I've been around when apartments have been bugged and SBI and all that other kind of crap before, so I'm aware of what this is insinuating. Look at Eugene, like, and mouth, really? You bring that here? Oh, ooh, it's a Diddy party, huh? It's one of them things. So who's getting fucked?
You know, elder vampires like having leverage. That's kind of how they roll.
Fine. Cater or don't cater. I don't fucking care. It's one less thing off my fucking checklist of things to do. We have other things we need to handle. Like we were talking about before Eugene came in, Martha. We should probably go handle that.
That's true. And I really need to go feed. I'm kind of a mess right now.
So, you gonna stay here and take a nap, Eugene, or what? You look like you could use a little rest.
No, I'm fine to come with, but we need to lay low as much as possible. Especially with Victoria Krieger out there working against us. Without her leveraging what you and Ryan did, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now.
I mean, if you want to talk about the catering, I mean, we can make a trip for the chantry. I mean, it's not. We can go to the main chantry and probably get a meeting.
You can do that. You're in that decent enough standing.
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think anybody has a particular problem with me, but I don't think I have any particular pull right now. So it's kind of depends on if they really want to do this catering.
Do you know where Ryan is? Maybe we could talk about what Ryan did with.
He's in the wind.
It's impolite to talk about people who are not here to defend themselves. So no, we will not be talking about what Ryan did or anything involving Ryan right now while he is not here.
All right.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him since that mess with the cops.
Okay. I'm gonna go look for him. I'm gonna probably look at his father's watering hole. You guys need me, give me a call.
Sounds good.
When he leaves, he pauses at the door and mouths sorry again before closing the door behind himself and heading out.
Look at mother. If I didn't already have so much blood on my fucking hands, and if he wasn't loosely related to me,
Yeah.
I think I'd make his ass disappear.
Yeah.
But we need to get you fed and figure out the whole body situation. So let's do that. While keeping.
I will use my heresy here if I can.
You, of course, can. Do you take
Yeah, I'll let her come with if she wants to come. Probably an idea, but why not?
It's a great idea, sharing portions of yourself that you have not had the opportunity to. So, there is a faith throughout Las Vegas. Unlike most other cities around the world and around the country, the faiths in Las Vegas are not that disparate. There isn't the contention between the Baptist and the Pentecostal, or the Catholic and the Presbyterian, or the Jewish and Muslim faiths. There isn't a separation on the same level or of the same vociferous verbal violence as anywhere else in the world. Some would think because of the mandatory peace to protect the tourist trade. Some would aspire towards some conspiracy. Others simply because the heat makes it too hot to get involved with all of that petty differences of opinion. They'd be wrong. Las Vegas is the hub of several major kindred and other supernatural faiths. Las Vegas is the Vatican City for the contiguous United States, because every printed, stamped facet of the American currency has a prayer to the God of the land. In God we trust, e pluribus unum. On every bill, on every coin, it is there, bright and big as life. As they say, and because of that, Las Vegas is, in fact, the Vatican City of the continental and non-contiguous United States of America. No place else, save potentially Wall Street, are there as many temples to the god of the land, money, whose secondary faith, capitalism, and no place else in the contiguous and non-contiguous United States does so much money flow through so many hands, making the difference between dreams, reality, and fantasy on such a daily, nightly, continuous basis. Each of the casinos, each of the resorts, each of the slot machines, each of the several hands out for that extra gratuity are all prayers for the god of the land. And mixed into that very open worship of money and capitalism are cults, churches to faiths that are built on non-human minded morality and ethics. There's a rundown hospital that Fancy has passed several handful of dozens of times. In the near far western portion of Spring Valley, just on the other side of Flamingo and where the Hualapai road, not far from town center, there where the 215 cuts north through the southwest and to the west, the Pacole Ranch, the lakes area, before it makes it into Summerlin. There, that church, which sits as a sign that in this godless place, in this oasis in the middle of the desert, even there is some consideration for the spirituality of it all. That church is set there unused 75% of the year. Then, Halloween happens, then Christmas happens, and Thanksgiving happens, and 4th of July happens, and then invariably there's a business that moves in and moves out and moves on. But in between that, there's always a small gathering of homeless, surprisingly well cared for. They are clothed well, they are showered, it is a mecca for them. They know that they can be taken care of in some fashion, shape, fashion, or form. As you near this church, it is bothersome. You know that everyone has secrets. You know that every living and dead thing has secrets. It is another thing entirely to realize that the city itself has secrets hiding in plain sight. As you make your way through the huddled homeless masses who are snacking or smoking or conversing, the feel of moving down the aisle of a major cathedral begins to fall over you. There's the odd touch along the skin, as if they can sense and smell what you are, as if they know you by sight. That same reverential touch for Martha. And as you all move into the abandoned church, Lord, as you move into this grand cathedral, left line fallow, there aren't any crosses. There aren't any stained glass depictions of holy acts from various Abrahamic faiths. There aren't even any pews lining the center aisle as you move towards the pulpit. No. Just the opposite. There are places to kneel. There are places to sit. There are places to congregate one person to the next and share the good speak as they did in days of yore. There's places to share and fellowship privately and publicly. There aren't any of the usual trappings you would expect. In fact, those stained glass windows, they depict things like the burning of the witches in Salem, the burning of Joan of Arc, the desecration of Boudica. Strange pagan moments, all centering around the feminine ideal or the heroines of those tales. You're sure that that's got to be a version or an iteration of Hecate. That one there, that's probably Circe. That one there is Ruth from the Bible. That's got to be Sarah, Abraham's wife. Then there's pictures of even local, more modern heroines. There's Marilyn Monroe. There's several blaxploitation starlets. There's Foxy Brown herself. And on those stained windows depicting heroines and pagan heroes from the past. And under each window is a planter's box filled with various flowers. Because of the way that they worship, Martha leads you into a small alcove near where the pulpit would be normally. In that alcove, the worshipful, the other members of this, whatever this is, enter with a request. Are you in need? They ask Martha.
Yeah, I've come to slake my hunger.
Enter, drop to their knees, and hands forward as if begging for alms, head down. They present themselves for her fangs. And while it's only a few droplets at a time, there's more and more coming, giving of themselves. And before long, Martha has sated herself. She has filled her gullet. Way back out, leaving you two with a moment for Martha to complete her worship and settle herself before whatever it is that you all have planned. In that time, having witnessed that supplication, in that time, sitting here in this house of worship, while you all have a few moments to yourself, is there anything that Fancy's discussing? This is the first time she's seen anything like this. This is not Pentecostal. This is not period. This is no recognized faith that she's ever been exposed to. It's not even a Pastafarian.
I'm mostly treating it with the reverence that was taught to me growing up. My parents took me to church, so there was that bit of, I am in a place of worship, I'm going to treat it with respect, even if it is not my particular place of worship, or if I don't believe these things anymore, obviously, because I'm dead, so once Martha seems to kind of be back somewhat to themselves, and we get a little bit of a private moment Okay. Now that you're looking better and you seem to feel a little bit better, how do you want to go about this? Because it's going to require, like you said, a distraction of some sort. Do you have somebody that might be able to create a distraction? I mean, you are a doctor. Could you not maybe borrow somebody's coat and badge and get us into the morgue? I don't know how you want to do this. I'm confused.
I could certainly try that. I could. Honestly, I didn't really have a plan. It's just been bothering me that we have left this undone for a while. We need to get in there and get out without being seen as much as possible, I guess. And we need to just clean up our mess. I don't know. I need just a way to get in. And you have more contacts than I do. I mean, I guess I have some pull as a member of the medical community. I could try talking to the ME, saying I was checking up on a case, I guess, but that leaves traces that we were there.
Well, I can't help them forget after the fact that we were there, but the thing is, how do we get past cameras, which can prove we were there, and how do we get the body out, and what do we do with it when we get it out?
Well, honestly, we need to get rid of it somewhere. I mean,
I just had a thought.
we need to. Did we contact your husband and ask him to?
He's got to kind of lay low right now at the moment. Carefully contacting him, mind you.
I was kind of more asking, does he have a convenient place to get rid of her more than anything else? I mean, that's kind of the issue with this, is just delaying the problem. If we just drop her somewhere where it's going to be found again in a few days.
There are thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of desert.
There are.
Do we think that her body would not disappear if the sun hit it? Or was she too young for that? I know she was new, but with her whole not being full-blooded thing, I suppose that would be a problem indeed.
Yes, that is honestly one of my concerns. That's kind of the issue with those who don't fully have our curse and blessing. It makes them not quite follow the same rules as the rest of us.
I had a thought. Again, she motions to herself. I look like I could be somebody's funeral home director. And I have a fairly good gift for gab, so perhaps I could pose as somebody coming to pick the body up. That some family has finally decided what funeral home to take them to, what have you. And then that would be a reason for us to take the body. And then once we get them, we are doing some construction in the hotel. It's an old trick the mob used to use, bury them in the foundation of something. Hopefully,
I mean,
they never get dug up, that kind of thing.
I just, you're the one who have emotional connection to her crimes. I mean, would you feel comfortable with her being put there?
I want as least amount of effort to this as possible, and it's plausible. I could contact the contractor, have him maybe look the other way or be distracted while it happens. We do our absolute best to minimize the amount of human remain looking possibilities, and we get rid of her permanently. That sounds like a plan to me.
That seems like a reasonable plan. I can probably fake some paperwork to even smooth things out if it comes to that.
Perfect. So
it's a lot of a lot. It's a lot of a lot. And having the idea of the plan puts you 7 steps further ahead than you were beginning of the conversation, than you were an hour ago, a day ago, a night ago. It puts you so far exponentially ahead. And yet, as the considerations really settle into place, there was a conversation you had roughly 6 years ago, Fancy. You and Corinne between classes. The last little Uchi Daddy showboy finally leaving after taking forever in the shower. As you all do your usual walkthrough and make sure that everything, you find the box of cleaning aids used to make sure that various pipes are properly prepared for whatever else might be happening later in the evening. Corinne makes the joke about, the way that Paul goes at it. He's going to end up coming and going at the same time one of these nights. You all start talking. It's a huge cemetery that all of the, or most of the famous dancers and performers that were Las Vegas immigrants or locals are buried in. There are tours that happen, so you can see their tombstone, you can see their crypts or their mausoleums, you can see their final resting places. There's some there where they have speakers, you can hear their voice or their favorite performance. There are mausoleums where you can sit before screens as wide as most persons, supporting walls of their homes, and listen to them regale you here in the present from the past before they moved on about their favorite things. And it was 1922 and I was a young whippersnapper, and it's a great moment for those of you who are into memorials. Kieran goes on and tells you, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, Fancy, but I think that my claustrophobia is rubbing off on the kids. You know, Annie, she was telling me she doesn't care where she's buried so long as she's not alone. And if I go before she, if something were to happen to me, I still count on you to take care of them. I know that you would. I know that you would. If there's anybody who's loyal, it's gonna be you. I don't know what I would have done without your influence on my life, Fancy.
Thought of that. Hits her a little hard. And she recognizes the fact that Corinne also doesn't have anybody to bury her. That was Fancy's job. I guess we'll be taking 2 bodies from the morgue. And I won't be putting them in the foundation. But I know of another place. And it would be perfect for them both. Unmarked grave it is, but it'll be perfect for them both.
Well, if it'll suit you, I'm fine with it.
So to pull up this plan,
Eventually,
we need a hearse, as it is, or a large van that looks like it could belong to a funeral home, and the paperwork.
All right. I think I can fake up the paperwork, probably. And I don't know, I don't have has the hotel wiped us out for the kind of everyday spending we need to do to get a van?
well, several things need to be accounted for by the hand of fate. First things first, you're going to attempt to forge transfer papers for 2 corpses from the Las Vegas City morgue, both of which were there due to police investigations. Would you be so kind as to roll your wits plus craft DC5? Fancy gathering the money and the van or purse. Would you be so kind as to roll your charisma plus contacts or allies DC4? Your combined totals will be contested by the bureaucracies and police investigations at play. So roll as high as you possibly can.
Does my influence do anything for me here?
Influence medical does not affect the mortuary. It doesn't affect the morgue.
All right.
It was charisma and either contacts or what?
Allies.
Before I forget, how much did I mechanically slake?
You're down to 1.
All right. Okay, come on. Well, less than ideal.
Are you not re-rolling anything, or are we just leaving it?
Is there any point to it? I only have two dice, and one of them's hunger, and I got successes on both of them.
Okay. Well. So, a grand total of 8 successes, which is 4, versus 5 of what you all need. So here's the question, and this is the only question that carries as much weight as your actual rolls. Would you all like to succeed at cost?
What's the cost?
We will find out together. You can keep things as they are, or you can succeed at the cost.
Yeah, all right. I will succeed at cost.
So, most people envision the morgue, any morgue, all morgues, like they show on old horror movies, on old TV shows, and even now in some places you have dimly lit halls under blinking lights, the sort that buzz and hum and occasionally flicker in and out. The halls shadowed in darkness, the sound of water somewhere off in the distance, unknown, just dripping. Voices echoing or sounding extraordinarily muffled and put upon. Some strange little man with glasses eating a sloppily designed and constructed sandwich of cold cuts over dead bodies as they talk about their dating life. Sometimes dressed in scrubs, sometimes dressed in casual attire, but always with a white coat with flecks of blood and body matter on it. That is not how the morgue in Las Vegas actually is. It is brightly lit halls, lots of employee designed artwork and care walls and vision boards. There are none of the normally expected scents. There are plants and pine and citrus notes in the air. It's not cold or foreboding. There aren't any pale, distracted individuals who look like living ghouls. No, most of the people that you pass, as you all enter, right, smile. Oh, hey, how's it going? Hey, welcome. Can we help you with anything? Or do you need help getting anywhere? There isn't a rude, stereotypical receptionist. In fact, he very much looks like a J. Crew model. His side shaved hair, 2 sleeves of tattoos, 3 earrings in his left, 2 earrings in his right, glasses solely to counteract the blue light from the screens in front of him. And he's wearing a Megadeth concert t-shirt over charcoal gray jeans and Keds, which he's paid extraordinarily for. Oh, hey guys, how's it going? How are you? He's helpful, assisting in finding the persons you need to speak with, and they aren't out of town or out of contact. They're in the employee lounge, sharing their food, conversing over the last concert they saw, talking about what they did this weekend and with their family. It is not at all what you expected. It is overly populated, fully staffed, and if not for the fact you know that behind one or more doors is a wall of cabinet shelves filled with corpses, you would not know that this was in fact a morgue. There's nothing off-putting or reverentially afraid of death. It takes you all an hour due to the bureaucratic paperwork, and while your forgery is completely lacking in several places, they literally, it's not a crime to bury whatever, and the paperwork on their end had been misfiled, so it's not the corpses that you all are attempting to abscond with are not where they should be. They should be in the high security area of the morgue. Police investigation was surprisingly closed. No one's looking for the serial killer or spree killer responsible for their deaths. They're all, in fact, as far as such things go, too easy for you all to roll the gurneys out and into your waiting van. It's only as you all are about a minute and a half, 2 minutes away from the morgue that you realize some of the information that you all picked up along the way. One, that there is no police investigation into their deaths. The investigation was closed. 2, there is a high security wing. They weren't even there. And 3, they were expecting a transport for these bodies.
That seems a little strange and a little foreboding. I think we should be very cautious.
I'm a firm believer in don't attribute to malice what you can attribute to incompetence.
But prepare for both.
I mean, It's always healthy to be a little paranoid in our line of life.
I mean, let's not talk about this here. But yes, we should be cautious. And Fantasy will put on her biggest smile and um, run the whole spiel about being from said funeral home that she managed to get put on the vehicle and print up a badge for that kind of thing. Uh, Looking ever the part of funeral director extraordinaire for Vegas. Uh, Baffle them with bullshit, basically.
Well, make your way away. Your good deed for the moment, firmly in the positive category of your moral checkbook. You know that you all have successfully done the unthinkable. You've grave robbed without the bodies being buried. You are intending to ensure a respectful, if devoid of spirituality, resting place for the bodies, the corpses in the back of the van. There's a thought that niggles and chews around the edges of your conscious mind. The investigation was closed. The morgue was expecting a pickup of these two corpses.
Who was supposed to be coming to
There's some information there. Yes. And then some. And there's the fact that there are certain information that was left out that it only begins to crawl up out of the void of your subconscious now as you all are successfully away. When was the investigation closed? How long did they have the body? How much of an actual autopsy had they done?
Can I tell by looking?
No. Unfortunately, but those are thoughts that prey. Like, son of a bitch. It was too easy. It was... You don't mean to be a Debbie Downer or a negative Nancy, but there are... The feeling that there is another shoe to drop. There is a sword hanging over your head. There is a bill that is waiting to come due. Where are you going to take the corpses?
The first thing I want to do as Fancy, before we go too much anywhere, is I'm going to check the body bags over for tracking devices, anything that would like get us caught somewhere. Just checking the bodies, tracking devices for any sort of thing like Martha, is there like a way to check if they put like some sort of blood sorcery tracking thing on the bodies, like find them after we take them? Like, we need to make sure.
Well, there are ways. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at them. Can I do an occult inspection to see if I pick up anything?
Okay. 2 rolls. Nancy, would you be so kind to go ahead and roll your wit plus technology? Would you be so kind to go ahead and roll your intelligence plus blood sorcery?
I think we had a quick little hiccup in the internet. What was that?
Would you be so kind to roll your wit plus technology? And Martha rolls their intelligence plus blood sorcery.
That's not a bad roll.
Club and I ain't got no technology.
Well, there's always rousing.
Hmm.
In this modern era in which you all live, everyone always forgets that at one point in time, the metals that we find flimsy, underserving, were in fact technological advances. Everyone forgets that prayer is basically spell work. So is every other act of manifesting what it is that you want. It is a bit of everyday magic. All of these things conspire to keep us from realizing the magic and investments around us every day, all the time. For Martha and Fancy, that awareness bears down on them like an angry bear. In the quiet still of this contractor's van operating as hearse to carry these 2 corpses somewhere safe, somewhere free of others' notice, Martha finds not only the small pebble under each of their tongues, which is odd considering most times their lips would have been sewn shut, yet it is not. But she also finds the small hand carved thin flimsy piece of metal around each of their toe, their pinky toe to be exact, place that most people would not bother to look and would overlook otherwise. Oh, it was nice, they have a toe ring. No, they don't have a toe. They have a chain encircling, locking their souls into their corpses, preventing them from, if there was still ambulatory life in them, from being kindred, or a ghoul who was tougher than they seemed, or a risen spirit given flesh. They would not be able to move. They would not be able to rise and provide impetus to their corpses. Whatever soul might remain would be trapped inside, as well as easily trapped. For all of her lack of experience with modern technology, she may not know how to properly sign up and utilize a VPN. However, she knows that those little round white hockey pucks with the bitten apple are in fact trackers. There's no way that a corpse or morgue attendant or receptionist or anyone else accidentally placed those inside of the bags. Those are placed purposefully so you don't lose items, or at least you know where they are so you can go back and find them later.
Fancy will very quickly remove the air tags and if we're somewhere where there's cars, I'm going to tuck them into different cars. Martha, whatever you found, we need to get rid of it quick, and we need to get the fuck out of here because there's only going to be a couple minutes until they figure out we found the trackers.
Well, that sounds reasonable. I'm not sure these were simple trackers, though. But yeah, let me itch this stuff.
Are you using the same or attempting to use the same methodology as Fancy, Martha?
Is there a sewer grate nearby? I don't think so. I feel like running water is the place to ditch these in.
You're just going to find the nearest grate in the ground and drop them in?
Yes.
Okay. You're basically going to go ahead and roll your base plus survival as high as you possibly can.
Okay, I think I might have a dot in survival. Let me see how this goes. I should be safe. I think I'm going to rouse. Oh, that was helpful.
It's fine. We're both at about the same level right now. So.
Remember, going forward, you want to roll your dice pool plus surge and then roll the rouse afterwards. Go on.
Okay. Yeah, I do have a dot in survival. Okay, that could have gone better.
It could. Las Vegas is an oasis in the desert. It is, especially at night, an earthbound star. The hotels, the resorts, the casinos, the amphitheaters and auditorium lighting up the night. Various shades and hues of yellows, whites, reds, blues, purples even. Sometimes blue, though not nearly as much as one would expect. For it being the color of royalty, after all. One of the things, however, not so prevalent is the free and open use of any non-potable water. Adding humidity to a desert environment, turning it into a sauna, is never anyone's idea of a good time. Because even here, in the dark of night, the heat of the day can still be felt along the skin. And while it's cooling precipitously fast, that heat is a monster all of its own that each of you all, during your living years in the area, know not to truck with, not to toy, but not to tease. And so open water, access to sewers, anything that adds humidity to the environment is few and far between. And while Fancy manages to properly stash the air tags beneath one bumper inside of the other wheel well and is rushing back towards the van, after finding that Gray has proved to be considerably more problematic than you expected. And as you finally stand above what you are sure is at least a access rate to the sewer systems and water support systems for the city, you all see two Humvees pulling into the parking lot where you all are. You see two Humvees. Tinted windows, air conditioning, blasting, which lets you know that it is a commercial released Humvee. Bright halogen lights sweeping through the parking lot, bouncing off the various car windows and mirrors as they move down one lane of cars and up the next. Having split upon their entrance and attacking the parking lot from several different angles at once, you all realize that, as they say, the jig is up. Dancing has come to an end. It is, in fact, the Piper. What is it that you all do?
We gotta go. We gotta try to make it past them and out of here.
Yeah, I ditch the pebbles and the rings and get the hell to the van.
Alright, so race against time and stealth at the exact same time. So what we'll be rolling here in this instance is going to be your stealth plus athletics. Roll as high as you can. You must defeat the contested roll by 3 to be successful. We have 3 opportunities or 3 rolls possible for each of you individually. Unless, of course, you all are attempting to work together to help offset and distract. At which point, then one of you will roll with a +1.
Yeah, my pool for this is very small, so I am willing to help or be helped either way.
My stealth is pretty good. My athletics are non-existent.
Your stealth's probably still better than mine, so I'm going to give you my help.
Okay, so that's +1. What was the difficulty again?
You have to defeat the contested roll by 3. So you roll, setting the pace. They roll, you roll. If whoever reaches +3 first, of course, wins the hide and seek game.
Okay. Well, that was not the worst, not ideal.
You all head down one aisle, ducking and crouching bumper high, hiding behind Will and after Will. And as you near the end of the aisle and are able to just about rush across one lane closer to your van, you are seen, or at least your shadow is. And they begin zeroing in on your location. Do roll again.
All right. Let's do that again. Yes. Plus athletic. Plus 1 or 2.
You manage to hold still and allow them to be misdirected as the glint of their very bright halogens and searchlights bounce off of one car, causing shadows to appear farther away from you than they had expected. As they continue moving on, you make a quick break across one lane closer to your van as the other Humvee moves down the lane towards you all. Go ahead, roll again.
All right. It will be no failures on that one. That did not help.
You all break across the last lane closer to your van. In doing so, Fancy, you could kick, ball, chain, kick with the best of them. You could spin on a dime, and you can run full out in your heels. You could, during your living days, dance 4 shows without a break and not be a puddle of sweat. Same thing, however, doesn't happen these days. The tricks for traction and grip, causing your heels to hold their position and not give your ankle the worst break you've heard about, don't apply on asphalt. As you all make the quick and stealthy dash across the last lane of cars towards the van, your heel gives out. The last few days, weeks, months of trouble not giving you the opportunity to re-sole with your duct tape and other tools and tricks of the trade to keep your heels perfectly traction. Not especially on asphalt, blacktop to be exact, slick and wet from the day's heat. As your traction begins to go, you pull at Martha's arm to stabilize yourself so that neither one of you go down and you don't pull her to the ground. But in the doing so, it pauses you all just long enough for the Humvee that you all but forgot about. You left them, you ditched them, you broke their ankles, you let them believe you were elsewhere than where you were, and yet they've managed to circle around. They found your van. It's the only vehicle in the lot that, outside of the several SUVs and the huge trunk on that 56 Caddy, that could hold 2 bodies. And they are at the van, inspecting it, shining their flashlights into it as you break free of the hedgerow of cars. Standing there at your van, easing to a stop on the other side of it is the Humvee, filled with those beings who had tracked those bodies. small scuff of shoe on blacktop, the hurried footfalls of you all rushing forward, attracting the attention of the driver, and the kindred who is peering into the passenger window of the van. You realize the jig is up, the music is stopped, the piper must be paid, and it's 52 after the hour. And I'd like to thank you all for a lovely episode. See you guys next time.
All right. Maybe Brian will be here next time and he can be our knight in shining armor.